Welcome to the second episode of Not. So today on Ninja Obstacle Training, we're going to be talking about some different key ninja vocabulary. Some words that you might hear in the gym, some of us trainers using, throwing back and forth that you might not fully understand. We'll go over some textbook definitions, what like a gymnast might think when they hear some of these words, and then what me as a ninja trainer would hear and think in the context of a ninja gym. So we'll go over some rough definitions and kind of teach you guys a little something about ninja vocabulary. The first word today is kip. So kip is a word that's used in gymnastics also, so a lot of you might recognize it. Really, it's the motion that you use on a hanging bar to generate forward momentum to prepare yourself to lachey from one bar to another. So they use it in the women's and men's high bars. Really, that's what gets your swing going. A dead hang. So a dead hang is when someone's just too tired and gassed out that they're hanging motionless and without really flexing any particular muscles. So a lot of times when you see someone hanging, they got their arms bent here, they're engaging their biceps and their lats to help hold their body up, which brings their center balance upwards towards the bars that they're, or whatever obstacle that they're moving around on. When you're in a dead hang, you're tired, you're spent, you're hanging there, you're dead in the water. Third word is momentum. So momentum, when we're talking about movement in ninja, is very, very important, really. Not just forward, but lateral, side movements, up and down. Really, movement is key to a lot of ninja moves. Really, you want that forward propulsion to help you grip and help you hit obstacles a little faster and smoother. Usually, when you're a bit slower, your inertia is tending to drag you down. You get that kind of like wobbly bike feeling. When you're on a bike and you're going too slow, you tend to wobble and fall over. Same kind of concept applies. So lachey, another term that is used in both ninja and gymnastic sports. This is a transfer between two hanging obstacles. So if you have a hanging bar and a hanging door, or just two hanging bars, the lachey is when you let go of one bar and fly over to the other. So it's the jump between the bars. If you're starting in a dead hang with no momentum, then you're going to need to do a kip to get that momentum for the lachey, but the lachey part happens once you let go of one bar and you're in the air. That's a lachey. An obstacle. An obstacle is anything that's between you and the finish line. So you're not always hanging from them, not always walking on them, jumping from them, but if it's in your way, you're going to get over it. Because that's what ninjas do. We get over, we get through, we make do, because we're ninjas. Yeah, an obstacle, anything in your way. The tramp, it is the trampoline. It's, you jump off them. You can run at them, you can drop down on them. I like to flip off them. I like to front flip off them. I don't just flip off any old tramp, but I do off a lot of tramps. So, yeah, the trampoline. Gap. Gap is something you don't want to fall in, but I guess more literally it is the space between two obstacles. So if you have a trampoline here and a bar here, all the space in between is the gap. Sometimes it's filled with water and sometimes it's just filled with disappointment, but that's the gap. So a transfer, that is when you complete a gap. So if you make it from this bar to this bar, you did a transfer. You can say that for, I guess, anything. You can say it for a jump, a lachey, anything that's going from one obstacle to another really is a transfer. Parkour and Freerunning. So when you hear someone say these words in ninja sport, usually what we're referring to is parkour. Parkour, the sport, really is about getting from point A to point B as quick as possible, going over, under, through. So the same true for ninja sport. We're trying to get from point A to point B, going through a designated obstacle course. Free running, on the other hand, is more stylistic in nature, still kind of from point A to point B, but being as flashy as possible, doing as many flips, rolls, tucks, spins on your way to point B. So usually if you hear someone say free running and ninja sport, they're talking about parkour. They're talking about parkour because parkour is used a lot in ninja sport. The movements are very similar. The techniques are very similar. So you'll see a lot of similar movements, similar people, and similar athletes and stuff, utilizing a lot of same words and definitions that you might hear in this video. Body control and body awareness. So when we talk about these in ninja, it's knowing your own physique and your own body and limitations and how to push them and overcome those limitations and make new limitations for yourself. But it's also knowing how to control yourself, like a spatial awareness, how to, if you're hanging from a rope and swinging, how to change your direction, how to, if you're hanging from a bar, how to use your hips to generate momentum, and really a lot of full body movement comes into play in ninja. So it's good to know really what you're capable of, how far you can bend a certain direction, how much you can lift, if you can pull yourself up. Knowing these things is pivotal to knowing what you can do and how far you can push yourself without injuring yourself. Because the last thing we want to do is hurt ourselves trying to better ourselves, right? So that's something none of us want to do. So knowing your body and knowing your limitations is very, very pivotal. Body control, body awareness, that's it. So the core in ninja is extremely important. We're not just talking about the abdominals or the obliques, but also the pecs, the chest. It's a complete package from the hip up top. Really, you need everything in there. You need it for stabilization, for balance purposes, for really keeping your body centered and in control. You have to have a strong core. A strong grip comes from, I want to say, two things. Having strong forearms, since there's really not many muscles in your hands. There's a couple small ones in the palm, but most of the flexing power comes from the forearms. So having strong forearms will give you great starter grip strength, but to take that even further, you have to train your ligaments, the things in your fingers that provide all that pulling action. They don't grow like muscles grow, but they can be strengthened. So like doing campus boards and rock climbing, training your fingers to get used to certain movements, and then finding out what they're capable of and how to push them to their limits is how you'll get a stronger grip strength. But it's definitely important. One of the biggest factors, along with a good core, in ninja for sure. Straight arming. So straight arming is very similar to dead hang. It basically means someone's gassed out. They can't bend their arm anymore and pull themselves up. They can't flex that bicep, so they're hanging with straight arms, and they're going to be unable to generate a lot of momentum, and they're gassed. They're tired. They're in a dead hang and they're straight arming. They're in for a bad time. Cardio is always important. So in ninja, we're not really talking about running cardio, but running is how you get good cardio. So running, swimming, biking, do all of that stuff in preparation for ninja sport, because once you get up on obstacles, your muscles blow through the oxygen in your blood, and you need to have a good respiratory system to replenish that oxygen as you move through obstacles. Because a lot of times what happens, people get up a salmon ladder, they lachey over to another obstacle, and then they're hanging on that obstacle for days because they have so much lactic acid in their muscles, because their respiratory system isn't cycling new blood in, right? They're using their ATP faster than they can replenish it. So they start to burn out, they start to gas out, and then you're dead hanging and you're dead in the water. Lower body versus upper body. So when you hear a trainer saying this in the gym, usually it's in reference to whether or not an obstacle is a hanging arm-based exercise, or if it's a lower body agility or speed exercise. So if we think about the lower body, it's going to be things like the quintuple steps or balance beams. And then with the upper body stuff, we're going to be looking at salmon ladder, Lachey. That being said, there's an extreme amount of crossover. So the jumping spider, for one, obviously takes both upper body and lower body coordination. So one is never better than the other. Work your legs just as often as you work your upper body, and your core, and really have a strong overall physique will help you in all obstacles. So what is a ninja? A ninja is anyone who sees the obstacles in front of them and attacks them head on, right? They don't take the easy way, they don't quit. They fall down and then they get back up again, and they get stronger and they get better and they perfect themselves and their techniques. And it takes not only a strong body, but a strong mind, quick reflexes, and really a strong will of heart to push yourself through, to fall down, to get back up, to get hurt and then get back up, and to just do it all over and over again until you can do it in your sleep. So that's what a ninja is. They're strong, they're fast, and they don't quit. Train hard, ninjas.